Hello YouTube, this is Thonga and today I'm bringing you a Dawn of War 2 Retribution online commentary video. Now in this game I will be playing as the Blood Ravens, Space Marines. My hero is the Apothecary. My good friend Phoenix is playing as the Black Templars. He has the Force Commander. And my ally whatyouwant is playing, he's the Blue Marines. He has the Tech Marine. This is 500 point victory point control. And me and whatyouwant, I'm just going to call him Blue Tech Marine from now on for simplicity's sake. We're going to rush the victory capture points. So for those of you who aren't familiar with this game, you basically have to capture 3 victory points, and it will slowly cause the ticket timers to slowly go down. So now Phoenix is pushing up. He's captured the power node as well. My scouts are taking control of the middle. My opponent, who is a Tyranid, has the Lictor Alpha, which is an ambush unit, and he is going to start attacking my scouts. He uses his special ability, I can't remember what it's called. He basically nails one of my scouts and just gets out of there, which is a bit annoying. He only has 1 unit here, but I thought he had more given that Tyranid players usually swarm. Now there's a lot of action going up on the north side, where the Imperial Guard player Came Horus, he's using his Sentinel to break apart the Tech Marines' cover, and these Marines are now out of cover, caught out of position. And as tough as Space Marines are, like you just saw those out there, those guys are taking fire from like half a dozen Guardsmen and 2 Sentinels, but they didn't lose any men, although they are taking a lot of damage, and the Sentinels just wrecking their cover, and the Guardsmen have good cover right now. And yeah, so my ally is forced to hold back. He's calling for help right now. I'm not sure if you can see the team chat, but I said I'm on my way, so I'm gonna try and push up here and gain some ground. So now that I've pushed back the Tyranid players' early forces, I'm gonna send. I have a couple of Marines on the way. I have 3 tactical Marines over here. I'm turning on Kraken bolts to damage heavily armored units or light vehicles. Although my opponent, Came Horus, is using the grenade launcher ability on his general's stormtrooper retinue, and these guys are bypassing the cover and they're actually doing quite a lot of damage. So me and my ally, we made a mistake of bunching out our guys here, and these grenades are just like completely wrecking us, just chipping away at the health of our Marines. So I tried to get my Apothecary in there, but he got war stomped and he crashed into that pillar and completely took it out. So both of us are in a bit of trouble here. I lost 2 Marines and had to bail out of there. I almost lost my entire Marine squad. Meanwhile, my friend Phoenix is there's not much action over here. Our opponent, the green Space Marines, they're more than content just to turtle up. So on the score, me and my allies are red, and yeah, I'll turn off the fog of war. So me and my allies are red, our opponents are in blue, so we're winning the score because we're slowly reducing our enemies' tickets. So I only have 1 scout squad here, so my Tyranid opponent pushed up with his Lictor Alpha, and with this Homogrunt squad, there's cheap melee units, very fast. Not very deadly in a melee, but they can cause some damage if you're not careful. So anyway, he doesn't have many units right now, he's just turtling up, that's the enemy base. Meanwhile, Phoenix is pushing up, his scouts are just engaging in a brief foray. He pushes his scouts forward, he comes in the range of his tactical Marines, and he realizes he's taking a bit of fire, so he's gonna pull out of there quick. His Force Commander is moving up, but he pulls his scouts back because they don't have, even though they had good cover, they were just too outnumbered. So here, I'm pushing up strong, I have more Marines ready, and he kills the Lictor Alpha, pulls another one of my scouts and kills him completely, but I just bail out of there as quick as I can. Meanwhile, my ally is pushing up hard. He has 2 tactical Marine squads, 1 Devastator squad. Devastators are they carry the heavy bolter, heavy infantry, very tough, very powerful, but you need to give them time to set up, and they're very vulnerable if they're caught out of position. So meanwhile, since there's no problem here, I'm going to skip capturing this power node, and I'm going to get my troops come up here and flank these Imperial Guard. There's not too many of them, but they have good cover and good positioning, but it would be a real shame for the Emperor's chosen and finest if we're gonna let 2 skinny chicken walkers and half a dozen Guardsmen hold off a dozen Marines. So I'm gonna draw my opponent's fire, the Imperial Guard's fire, and my ally is gonna push forward. I'm pushing my tacticals forward. These guys have a flamethrower, and I'm gonna flush out these guys. So while they're suppressed, I'm pushing my tacticals forward, although my opponent brings up a squad of Chatterchans, which are good close quarter infantry. They carry shotguns. But anyway, my ally is keeping them suppressed with his heavy bolters, which gave my guys time to run back to cover, and while my heavy bolters covering the squad, he moves up here. So we're moving using a lot of fire maneuver tactics, and this last turret doesn't stand a chance. This Space Marine squad is taking a real beating, but they're buying us time to set up our guys, so we're setting up Devastators behind this cover while this tactical squad basically sacrifices themselves, although they managed to take down that Sentinel, and I'm going to pull them back once we set up our heavy bolters here. So now these Imperial Guard have like 3 heavy bolters firing at them, and they're getting mowed down. I have no idea what the explosion was, but it basically knocked all our guys back. But we set up just as quickly. My Apothecary is there healing our troops, so it doesn't cause too much damage. And I sent my 2 tactical Marines on, and we managed to flank these guys. So the Imperial Guard in full retreat. Now there's no way all these guards are going to hold off against this many Marines. Meanwhile, Phoenix is helping support the middle, seeing as the green Space Marine is very slowly inching his way forward. Even though he definitely has the numbers to make a strong push, he could actually like push his way all the way to our base and flank our victory point right here. My friend Phoenix has like 2 scout squads, 1 assault marine squad. He's going for the scout assault marine build. I'm going for a more balanced tactical ranged build, and my ally is doing sort of has the same ranged build as me. So seeing as my ally is in good hands here, I decide to eventually pull back to the middle. I'll fast forward until something more interesting happens. So now Phoenix saw some Homagons coming forward, so he dove his assault marines in there, and they chopped these guys apart. And we're gonna try and capture this victory point, which will speed up victory for us very quickly. Now this guy, he hasn't done anything much. He's trying to tech up, save resources, and I'm not sure whether that's very useful. But anyway, here comes Elector Alpha, and Phoenix, he missed his assault jump there, but his scouts are giving his force commander cover, so the Elector Alpha is forced to retreat. Meanwhile, the Green Marine has decided to make a push on our power node on the left side. So Phoenix is asking me for help right now. I tell him I'm going to bring my Marines back down eventually after we push back these Imperial Guards. So I'm going to bring my Marines back down here, and even though we're outnumbered by all these Marines, I'm going to show you how superior tactics will allow a smaller, more maneuverable force to overwhelm a entrenched vegetable-like force that doesn't move, and they're green too, which suits them. So anyway, my ally, whatyouwant, has told us we're going to fortify our position, this position up here. He has good positioning, and meanwhile the Tyranid player has finally ranked up, so he's going to make a hard push down our center while we're diverting forces back to deal with the threat on our left flank. So we have about a dozen Marines here. My opponent, roughly the same number, but he is deeply entrenched, so it's going to be a problem rooting out this many heavily armed Marines. So note here, Phoenix is positioning his assault Marines on this side. This Green Marine can't see these assault Marines, but Phoenix can see what's going on. So he's going to dive his guys in there, smack apart these Devastators. And I'm going to use these tacticals to draw fire while I rush the rest of my guys forward. So I set up my Devastators and start gunning these guys down. So yeah, we're just hacking apart these guys. We got a bit in trouble here with all these Devastators, but with these 3 assault Marines, they basically tore apart this entire force over here. So they just hacked apart those Devastators and tacticals. So now the Green Marine has pretty much lost all his troops. His scouts are like being massacred. He's lost 2 squads of Devastators, which are very expensive, it's costly units. So my ally here, I think he's trying to pull back a bit to reinforce. The Imperial Guard player is still not doing much, but he comes under a massive assault by the Tyranid player, although he has good positioning and he opens fire. Meanwhile, Lictor Alpha dives in there, knocks his men apart, and now our ally is caught out of position and his guys are sort of getting hacked apart. Although the Devastators are really ripping these Tyranids a new one, so I'm desperately trying to pull back here. The Imperial Guard tried to push up our middle and flank me, but I managed to turn my Devastators around, and we mauled them pretty well. So yeah, my Marines are just burning these Tyranids apart. So yeah, that's pretty much the entire battle. We've killed the enemy commander. I'm pushing a Razorback up here, which is a lightly armored transport. So yeah, I'll fast forward until something more interesting happens. So meanwhile the Tyranids keep trying to push forward, but my ally has good positioning on them with all his devastators, and even though he's generally quite outnumbered, and the Imperial Guard player is going to try and chuck 3 squads of guardsmen out through this front, but then our guys have good positioning and these guardsmen out in the open, and once we set out our devastators, these guys are just going to get mown down. Yeah, so the Green Marine, he's turtling over here. He managed to push back Phoenix's assault marines, although look what I did here. I sent my Razorback through this gap and completely flanked, got the drop on these Green Marines, and this guy, he was so stunned, he just sort of like stood there for a few seconds while I poured like half a dozen marines into this breach in the wall. And meanwhile Phoenix is rushing his assault marines up, and he has a plasma cannon hammering these guys. So we completely destroyed the Green Marines troops time and time again. And the Imperial Guard are finally making a hard push. My guys are a bit outnumbered here, but we already have 3 victory points, and that's pretty much game over already. Too little too late by the Imperial Guard player. He played very well, but his allies were a bit lacking. So anyway, that's the game. I hope you guys enjoyed this new video. I may bring you more DoW2 Retribution videos if you want it. So hope you guys enjoyed this. See you guys next time. Bye.